Okay, so we're going to be talking about the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what's going to happen in the next Infinity War movie. So I'm not by myself here. I'm with my boyfriend Jacob.
Hi.
We're at UNC Charlotte right now, and we saw Infinity War the Thursday it came out.
One of the very first showings.
And sorry, I have a touch of Ebola right now. My nose is stopped up, but yeah, we waited for 3 hours. Not 3 hours, probably about 2. And just so you know, there's gonna be like mild spoilers.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way. But so a lot of stuff happened in that movie.
I'll give him my tidbit. So, again, spoiler warning. Because of the ending events of Infinity War and Thanos succeeding in his plan to wipe out half of the human race, the second part of the movie and our expectations is for the remaining Avengers to track down Thanos and take the Infinity Gauntlet from him and unwrite or undo all of the things that happened in the first movie. Obviously, if you saw the movie, you saw the ending cutscene where they introduced Captain Marvel, and she's gonna have her own film just before Infinity War 2 comes out. So they're gonna have her help expectingly in the new movie, as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp, who have their new movie coming out soon and did not make any kind of appearance in this movie. So there's some more characters right there that they'll have to introduce, as well as any kind of other villain that they might have as a sideline.
Also, can we just talk about how I had no idea he'd get all 6 Infinity Stones in this movie?
Yeah, so the original expectation was that the Infinity Stones collection would be split between just the first and second movie, and by the end of the second is whenever the big fight would happen, and they'd have to find a way to stop him, but he succeeded, and so that changes that theory to where the second movie is going to be undoing the fact that he succeeded. And so now he's resting, as you saw at the end of the movie, and that's what he planned to do, is just rest. And so he thinks that his work is done. Obviously, the Avengers think, oh God, there went half of the universe, and so what do we do? And, obviously they have to undo all of that stuff. And he's not going to like that, because that's a lot of work he did.
But the big spoiler right here. Do you think Gamora will come back? His adoptive daughter.
I don't know, because a lot of the deaths that happened at the end of the movie where you saw them disintegrate, and again, sorry for the spoilers, but Loki and Gamora, they had very specific deaths that were very tragic and drawn out, and they didn't get disintegrated at the end. So I don't know. I think they're done.
They're done.
I don't know. Maybe not, because that tie with Gamora and Star-Lord, that he might try to want to find a way to bring her back. Same thing with Thor and Loki, but I don't know. They've had a lot of shows.
And plus, you can't just kill off your only female character. With Guardians of the Galaxy, she was the only female.
Well, they have Mantis now. She was.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's part of them, so that might change some things. Honestly, with them, all of them disappeared except for Rocket.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because he's not a person, or because he was made, or what.
Well, Groot disappeared.
Yeah, but he was a being. He wasn't made by a lab or something like Rocket was. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyways, he might come back, he might not. I don't know. It's they did a really good job in keeping it to where you don't know what to expect.
I did, yeah.
A lot of the fans have theories, we have our own theories, we're explaining, but it's hard because.
Well, I kind of knew Loki. Something happened to Loki.
Yeah.
But in the first 5 minutes,
10, first 10 minutes was not expected, but I guess that was their way of saying we are not joking around.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm excited to see how they're going to throw in Captain Marvel, because she's a new character we haven't seen yet. Unless you read the comics, you don't really know what she can do. But it's a comparative of Superman, but she's not as invulnerable because Stanley doesn't like to make invulnerable characters because he says that's not exciting. So
It's not.
yeah, but I don't know. It's, like we don't know about her yet. She's going to get introduced in her own film, and they're going to put her in the movie, and she's the only one that we haven't seen interact with anyone else yet. So it'll be interesting to see how they throw her into the mix.
Yeah, and what are some characters that really shocked, like, not shocked you in this movie, but like really wowed you? Like, who had some good appearances?
Okay, so honestly, I think because of the amount of, there were so many main characters they had to introduce. Like all the people from Wakanda. So Black Panther had to have his own thing. Enough of showing for him and his like that new world that they introduced with that movie. They had to get enough showing. And then all of the original Avengers had to get their screen time. Robert Downey Jr. is a big star, and so is Chris Evans and the rest. But
Can I pause this?
no,
You can't,
sort of.
because I gotta blow my nose.
Okay.
It's fine. Just hold on.
All right.
Okay.
We're back.
Yeah.
So, recap real quick. So you said who
Who shocked you the
who
most?
shocked me the most in this movie? So
Like, had like a big,
yeah, something.
redemption.
So something that like I was talking about a second ago was that there were so many characters that it was hard to give them enough screen time. So each of the
Yeah.
each of the main Avengers had to have their enough screen time because they're all big actors and that kind of thing. And they had to introduce all the Guardians and have the interaction with them.
Bucky only had 2 minutes.
Yeah, like Bucky Barnes and the Winter Soldier, like he had very very few minutes of screen time, which I'm expecting means that he's gonna have a lot next movie.
Well, he's practically dead.
Well, they bring him back.
Yeah. I'm not.
And so I don't know. I think the best interaction I saw was between Rocket and Thor. I really liked that because that was a good pair up.
It was unexpected, but it was really good.
Yeah, like they tied together how like both of them had a lot of losses and basically lost everything. So like, what do they have left to lose? Let's fight back. With Thor, he lost his dad, his mom, now his brother, and
Heimdall.
Heimdall and Jane Foster. They lost all of them. And then with Rocket, he never really had anyone. He always pushed everyone away, but he lost Groot at the end, and he always would push away the rest of the Guardians, not try to get close to anyone. But I don't know. That was a good interaction there with him getting the Stormbreaker hammer. That was a really cool scene.
Oh,
And
I think Thor, like, he's become my favorite Avengers.
yeah, he started out as such like a dull character, and
And
then
like ever since they kind of like
brought him back in Ragnarok.
in Ragnarok, that they just kind of rewrote his character, and it was so good.
Yeah. And I think the coolest scene and redemption of a character is probably him coming out of the out of the Bifrost that he generated himself instead of Heimdall generating it, and he comes out lightning sparking
That's so
everywhere and
good.
then just destroys like not half, but a huge portion of the army that they were fighting against. That was really really cool. But I don't know, for this last little bit, I think we need to talk about the Doctor Strange plan because we haven't talked about that one yet.
He
That's
gave
important.
up the time stone.
So as you saw in the movie, in a little bit of a recap, there's a scene where they're on
Titan.
Titans, which was Thanos' homeworld, and it was Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange were all
Mantis and Star-Lord.
that's
and
right.
Drax.
And Drax. They were all there. Well, they didn't get there until later. But anyways, they were there for that part. No, they weren't there for that part. It was a little bit later. Anyways. So all of a sudden, Iron Man and Spider-Man are talking. They look over and they see Doctor Strange, who's
He
doing
was
something.
like he was meditating.
Yeah, but he had like this weird head.
He was like glitching.
Yeah, it was weird, but it was cool because he said he was looking through like what was it, 4 or 14 million or billion something different possibilities of the future that could come to pass, and and then Tony says, how many do we win? And he says 1. So you can obviously tell from there that the odds are greatly against them, but at least
There is this one way that they're gonna win.
yeah, there is at least one way. And so he's sought out that future, and he looked through all the different steps that he has to take to make sure that it comes true. So a little bit later in the movie,
Whenever he
Whenever-
gave up the time stone.
well, there's a reason. No, let's explain the reasoning for that. So Tony had just gotten stabbed by Thanos, you know, you're like, oh
And
god,
then he was
he's
like,
dying.
"Give me the time stone and I'll spare him."
Yeah.
And he gave up the time stone.
After not too far ahead of in the movie, just saying like if it comes between you, the kid, you, or the stone, I'll protect it at any cost. So he kind of goes back on his word, and Tony's like, "Why'd you do that?"
He was like,
And he
"It was the
said,
only way."
"It's the only way."
Because he knew that was the only way that they would win is if
Right.
he gave him, if he got all the stones.
Right. And so me and Haley, we talked about that like just that night, and I kind of brought it to pass. But a lot of YouTubers I've seen have come up with like, well, what about Doctor Strange's plan and theory with that? And so I think that's what they're going to try to enact for the next bit of the movie. The only thing is, Doctor Strange disintegrated. So
Oh yeah,
so-
that's right.
So he was the one with the plan, and now
Oh, shit.
they don't know what to do. So I guess their first step is just going to be trying to find a way to get him back. I'm assuming is get him back, and then they're going to have the plan explained to him or explained to them by him of how we're going to undo this and win
The only
against
people
Thanos.
that are really left are the original Avengers.
Yeah. So we didn't get any viewing of Hawkeye, but
Who cares? I mean, honestly.
he has a. They have
I
all
really
these
don't
new looks.
care about him.
Okay, well, you don't like him, but a lot of people do.
I don't think a lot of people do, honestly.
I do. Fine. He's the glue that, in my opinion, grounds the Avengers because he's the only one with a family right now, and so, he didn't get any showing, but we have like a view of like what he's expected to look like in the new movie. So he's expected to be in the new one, and so the only characters that are still really left that have the ability to undo all of this. Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, but Hulk has issues that's going on with him.
Oh God.
And
When doesn't he have issues? Like he's so problematic.
But he couldn't go to Hulk for some reason this, and I think it's because Thanos beat the crap out of him. I'm not sure, or because he had been Hulk for so long.
Yeah.
I don't know, but and so, it's those main four, and then you got Hawkeye, Black Widow, so it's like the original Avengers from the first movie, and then you've got Rocket who's still alive. You don't even have like Nick Fury or any of them because you saw him in the end cutscene die.
But like we talked about it maybe enough, but like after Infinity War, like part 2, what's gonna happen? Like I wonder what's gonna happen to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, I think they're going to close up. Was it Phase 3 and Phase 4 is going to start, or this might be the end of Phase 4? I
I
can't
don't
remember.
know. Yeah.
So
But, like,
essentially, they had like a huge step of movies that all built up to like in all these movies built up to the Infinity War. It was based off the Infinity Stones comic line, and that's how they built these movies, obviously with adaptations and stuff. But for the next coming movies, they've got all these new characters they've introduced, and they'll have like one solo film. So honestly, I expect Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor them to be done because each of them have their
Thor?
own. Yeah, they all have their own 3 movies. Not necessarily dead, but they won't have many more movies solo at least. They may come back for like a bigger film
Well,
or
there's
something like that.
there's also a big theory that Steve Rogers will die.
Yeah, I
And
expect
then
that.
Bucky will become Cap, which will be. That's what I'm hoping for. Like I don't want to see Steve die because he's great, but I want to see Bucky become Cap.
Yeah, but I mean, he signed on for a lot more movies. He has the ability to. But Chris Evans, he's been in a lot of them. And there is expected to be his contract's running up. Same thing with Iron Man, unless he somehow gets it renewed. So those 3 main characters from the original Avengers, they all have their 3 independent movies. I think that's going to be done for them. However, you got Black Panther. He has 1
Oh, yeah.
solo movie so far. There's got to be at least 2 more for that. And then, all that'll entitle.
And there's supposed to be a Black Widow movie.
Yeah, there's supposed to be supposedly an independent Black Widow movie. I don't know if they're going to do that. She's got a lot of screen time all the way from like Iron Man 2 to now.
I really don't want that to happen because it'll flop, I think.
But it'll be.
I don't
If
know.
they do her origin and how that came to be, that'd be interesting.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah, but like with all the spy stuff that she did before S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyways, so you've got Black Panther, that's gonna have his own movies, obviously. And then you got Captain Marvel. She's got to have some movies. One's coming out next year.
Spider-Man.
And yeah, and then after Homecoming, they led up to where more stuff could happen with Spider-Man and all the characters that you saw in the in credit scene with them and Falcon, no, Falcon. Was it-
Valkyrie?
No,
What?
the main villain.
Oh, what was his name?
It's not Falcon.
It's some.
It's a bird.
Vulture, yeah.
Vulture, yeah. So Vulture,
Michael Keaton.
yeah, he had an end credit scene and talked about and it like teased at some new characters for that. So there's gonna be more Spider-Man movies, and then I already talked about Captain Marvel, right? So she's gonna have hers, and then maybe another Guardians movie because there's only.
I think there's gonna be a third one.
There's only been two so
I
far,
think there's
and
gonna
that's
be a
kind of like Marvel's.
But then,
number.
well, they'd have to bring Gamora back.
Not necessarily, because
I don't know.
they introduced Mantis now, and they wrote off Yondu, so it's always
But then,
possible.
what about you gotta have the underlying love interest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to foretell with that. I'm just
Yeah.
expecting what movies could happen, and then there's all this talk of all the movies that are going to happen because Disney bought out Fox and all the rights to theirs.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh, it has to. There'd be no reason that they wouldn't buy it
No,
if they did.
it's not gonna happen.
You just wait. So there's all this talk of them redoing the Fantastic Four, which I think will happen, even though they've done it already, and
Twice.
they did it twice already. The second one was terrible.
I didn't even see it.
Oh, it was awful, but it never even made a second movie, and so they're gonna redo those. They've already talked about casting for that. It's crazy, and then
I feel like you've done the majority of the talking.
Well,
I'm
that's
sick.
You're sick, and I have a lot of.
I
do a lot.
knowledge.
I watch a lot of videos.
I do too.
So anyway,
I thought in Infinity War they'd bring in a living tribunal.
I don't know. That's too big of a cosmic being.
If you know the living tribunal is, good for you. But if not, I'd look it up because I really don't have time to explain it because it's really hard to explain.
It's a lot.
They're kind of like the judge.
Judge and jury for it's basically it's the being that keeps
everything in line.
Order in check,
Like,
essentially.
For
And yeah, so even in the
Universe.
comics, Thanos managed to beat them with the Infinity Stones.
oh god.
So that's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. And
Do you think that I say we, like Thanos will die or
I
they'll
don't know.
bargain with him? Because if they bargain with him, then it's gonna leave speculation that he'll come back,
yeah,
and I don't think
that's
they're gonna
true.
do that.
I don't know. Either he's gonna die. They're gonna use the gauntlet against him. Find a way to maybe destroy the stones because they almost did it with the Mind Stone.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
with Vision, they almost did it with that. And Scarlet Witch, she's still alive.
She's still, yeah. No?
Yeah, she's still alive.
Yeah.
She's still alive. And so there's speculation maybe that they destroyed the stones by her or something like that. I don't know. It's a lot.
It is, there's so much to it. And I'm sorry if you have not seen it, but you need to. It already broke $1 billion at the box
Yeah,
office. It's only been out for
about a week.
Oh, about a week.
Yeah, a little over a week.
Yeah, and that's insane.
It-
I hope it beats Avatar. I really do.
I don't know. It might because
I really think
it's
it
the
will.
fastest growing film ever, and it's
So,
crazy.
yeah.
So Disney's doing well. They've got their pockets pretty deep into a lot of different franchises, but it's gonna be good. I'm excited for next year.
All right, sorry I was sick, but yeah.